Okay, we'll begin with offering prayers. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadadi Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sakagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sakagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare अतः पुंबेत्वजश्रेष्ठ वर्णाश्रमविभागशः स्वनुदातस्य धर्मस्य संसिद्धिर्हरितोषणम् अन्नाभिलाषितशून्नं ज्ञानकर्माणि अनावृतम् अनुकूल्येन कृष्णानुशीलनं भक्तिरुत्तमा धर्मप्रोजितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सताम् वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुने कृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः साध्यो हृदि अवरुध्यते अत्र कृद्भिः शुश्रुभिः तत्सना निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं सुखमुख अमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिक भुवि भावुकः Hare Krishna. So how are you all
Krishna
doing?
Prabhu. Wonderful Prabhu.
Very nice. To discuss morning Bhagavad Gita is the most glorious thing, no? Okay. So let's begin from where we left off. Last class we left with 22, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So now we'll do with 23. Give me a second. Yeah. Okay. So now, so Kunti Maharani started her prayers after the event of Uttara being protected from the dangerous weapon fired by Ashwatthama. So now Kunti Maharani start offer her prayers. In her first set of prayers, she's just offering, she's offering obeisances to the Lord. And she says she's so lucky that people are, offering prayers in austerity mode in the Himalayas and various locations for ages together, and still they can't even get the dust of your lotus feet. But look at, I don't know how fortunate I am that, I'm able to see you, I'm able to offer my prayers. Then she glorifies Krishna on his position, right? She glorifies Krishna as son of Devaki, son of Nanda Maharaj, son of Vasudeva, like that. She glorifies. And then she glorifies, his lotus feet, his navel, his chest, his garland that he's wearing, his beautiful face, like that she's glorifying. Okay. So now we'll come to the next set of prayers in Kunti Maharani's prayers, where she is talking about her personal experience with the Lord. Under various situations, what did she see the Lord as? Right? So now she's going to talk about the qualitative activities aspects of the Lord. Okay, so that's this sloka. And these slokas are more intimate in nature because they talk about the personal aspects of the Lord, Lord's dealing, and Lord's activities. Okay, now let's look at 8.23. Pratarhishikesha kalena devaki kamsena rudati chiram sucharpita vimochitaham sa sahatmajo vibo tvayaivanatena muhur vipadganat. Okay. This sloka is trying to tell that he calls, Devaki is calling me, Kuntimaran is calling you Rishikesha. You are master of the senses and you are Lord of the Lords. Right? That's what she's saying. You release your mother Devaki, who was long imprisoned and distressed by the envious King Kamsa, and me and my children from a series of constant dangers. How you have played a role in our life. That's what she is now trying to glorify Krishna. So when Devaki and Vasudeva were imprisoned, Devaki had 6 children. So all 6 children were killed by Kamsa. Then the 7th child was Yogamaya and the 8th child was Krishna himself, right? Now she says that in case of Devaki, you protected Vasudeva and the 2 children. Of course, the reason for the 6 children we killed is a different reason why. But she says that you're more merciful to me because at least for Devaki, her husband Vasudeva continued to live, who can give solace or protection or shelter. But for me, it was more dangerous situation. Why? Because when I had these 5 children, including mine 3 children and Madhuri's 2 children, my husband Pandu had left the world. And Madhuri also left the world along with my husband Pandu. So I was completely helpless. Now, this is the key word. She's saying that she was completely helpless. And because of her helplessness nature, and because of the surrender nature, Krishna played the role of providing shelter to her. Right? So this is a very important factor that we have to understand. When someone performs devotion and in a helpless situation, no one in this world is going to help. Then Krishna is the Dinabandhu. Krishna is the savior of that personality. So that's what she's claiming. Right? Now, when she's talking about saving her, it is not about, he came and stayed with us. No, he came and protected her and her children from all sorts of dangers. Continuous dangers were there in her life till the current moment that we're talking about. So, Krishna, you played the role to protect us. So, in the next sloka, she's going to explain all those list of dangers that she encountered and how Krishna protected her at all times. So, that's what she's going to offer up to this. Okay. Now, because of this, what has happened? When Krishna has become a constant savior for one's life, then one's attachment on Krishna becomes unlimited. There is no other shelter they will take at any point in time. And she tells that as her causeless mercy. Right? Okay. Now, let's go to the next sloka. Now, in this next sloka, she is explaining basically the whole idea of these 2 slokas that she's trying to explain is that Krishna, you engage or use your devotees who are your close associates into such situations, and because of that, you are engaging your pure devotees in this role play along with you, and because of that, you're teaching the whole world how to take shelter of the Lord and be a recipient of such mercy. Right? So that is the major theme that she's talking about in this sloka. Okay, let's look at 24. Vishan Mahatneha Purushada Darshanat Asat Sabaya Vanavasa Kricharatah Mride Mride Aneka Maharat Astrato Drauni Astarats Chasmi Hari Abhirakshitaha. Now look at these words. Vishan. Vishan means poison. So what is the pastime associated with poison? Bhima was poisoned and was thrown into the lake, right? And it was almost impossible for Bhima to be alive, but Krishna protected. Then you look at this Maha Agni. Maha Agneha means Maha Agni. Maha Agni is the great fire that was set to the palace, the wax palace, right? You still protected us from that wax palace incident. Otherwise, we'd have all got burnt into ashes. Okay. Then she's talking about Purushada. Purushada means here it refers to the forest where demons were there. So he's talking about the Hidimba and that family, where they could have devoured us, but you protected us that time also, right? Then Darshanad. Here, Darshanad means you're able to not only protect us, and you're also combating various situations for us. Then Asat Sabaya. So Sabaya means assembly, right? So what happened in that assembly? Assembly where Draupadi was being disrobed. A shameful situation, but he protected Draupadi, right? Then Vanavasa. Vanavasa means they were sent to exile for 14 years. In exile, many pastimes happened. You protected us at all points in time. The Pandavas could not travel from one place to another place because wherever Pandavas went, Duryodhana used to send one spy and then find out where they were, and then he was also followed through with troubles, right? So you know the pastime of Duryodhana sending Durvasa Muni, right? So this pastime where he wanted to have food, and as a sannyasi or as a yogi, when someone like that mendicant comes to your house, you're supposed to offer food. So that time also was a great danger. Otherwise, Durvasa would curse, and that curse will be very dangerous for the Pandavas. So he protected us, right? So like that, you see, Krichataka continuous sufferings all the times. From all the sufferings, he protected us. How? Mride, again and again. Aneka Maharatashro. Maharatashro means that great rathas were assembled and they fired these weapons. Which is that? This great Kurukshetra war, right? So there also you protected us. And finally, now you protected from Drauni Astra. Drauni Astra means the Astra fired by Drauni. Drauni refers to Ashwatthama, the son of Dronacharya. So the Brahmastra was fired and it was about to destroy the entire lineage, but you protected us, right? So I feel Abhirakshata. I'm feeling completely, under your protection. So that's the sloka that she's offering here, right? So this sloka, you see, she's offering as a gratitude for the Lord. She's expressing her gratitude to the Lord by saying, what all you've not done? You've done everything. I don't know how to even express my gratitude. My gratitude must be unlimited to you, right? So that's how she is explaining her love for the Lord. Okay. Let's look at the next sloka, 8.25. Vipada santuta saswat tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam yatsya apunar bhava darshanam. This is a very, very wonderful sloka. She says, Apunar Bhava Darshanam. Punar means again and again in the next possible scenario. Bhava Darshana means Bhava Darshana means I want to keep seeing you. Now here is the point. It's a very, very important point. Translation. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again so that we see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. Now, generally, what happens in a tendency? Now, let's take the case of Pandavas, right? When all these sufferings were happening, Krishna was there to protect them. Now, all difficulties were removed, all impediments were removed. The kingdom were given back to them. They were made the kings, and there were no more enemies now. So they were a very virtuous kingdom now. So now what happens when we are put into such a comfort situation? We tend to become callous. We tend to become, you know, floating in the comfort zone. Then we also tend to get forgetful because our dependency on Krishna slowly comes down. We either start to depend on ourselves or we start to depend on material energy, and our dependence on Krishna comes down. We start to forget the Lord. She says that is dangerous. See in chapter 15.15, what do we read? Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivisto matta smritya jnanam apohanam cha. See, knowledge, forgetfulness, remembrance, all these things come from Krishna. So that means the practice of devotion under all circumstances is very, very important point to understand here. If we say, now see, I've reached a state where I'm beyond the three modes of nature. I don't need to do so much of austerity. I don't need to do all those things as practices. Then what happens? We slowly get the forgetful nature of the Lord. Then the illusory of the Lord start to act on us. And that's a very, very dangerous situation. So realizing this, Kunti Maharani is saying, no, Krishna, please don't go away. It is better that I go through tribulations so that you will be always there to protect us. We will be continuously able to see you, witness you, and remember you. Right? So that is better for me rather than getting to a comfort situation. So you see this one point that she's making. Remembrance of the Lord, association of the Lord is the topmost compared to anything else, is her conclusion. Okay, now let's read some things that I've highlighted. Can someone volunteer to read? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, it is you have to change the slide, Prabhu.
Yeah, read. Who are thriving?
Who are thriving?
Hmm.
Who are thriving on misdeeds only, regardless of status, cannot approach the Supreme due to being misled by the illusory energy. Therefore, for a pious person, if there is some calamity, there is no other alternative than to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death. Therefore, even though there are so-called calamities, they are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. Hare Krishna.
Which means liberation. So now look at the mood of devotees and look at the mood of non-devotees. The mood of devotees is, it is better that I get tribulations. It is better that I'm put into a difficult situation. Why? Because I'll take more shelter of the Lord. Prabhupada says, if anyone is into a difficulty, what you're supposed to do? You should increase your surrender to Krishna. Rather than blaming, oh, Krishna, see, I did all these things for you. You're putting me into this trouble. What sort of a Lord you are? That is not devotion. Devotion is to increase your surrender to the Lord. Increase your surrender to the Lord means to remember, to hear Him, to serve Him much more. When we do that, then what happens? The illusion energy that is applied on us, right? As the carpet of illusion has been applied on us by the Lord. So that is removed. When that is removed, then we will see that we are in a better situation. Right? So this is what is important to understand. If you take the sloka from chapter 2, Matra Sparshastha Kaunteya. So now look at this sloka. So Krishna says, there is a constant churn of good times and bad times. But what should be the duty of a devotee? Is to remember Krishna. Whether it is good time, take shelter of Krishna. Whether it is bad time, take shelter of Krishna. And that is how he can transcend his situation in the material world. Now, what do we do generally in our life? When in bad times, we try to take the material energy as the shelter. How? We either use our money, we use our power, we use our position, or we use other devotees in order to influence our situation. So we do all these dirty games. That is not devotion. So when we do that, whatever is happening, we are further deviating from the Lord. Our remembrance of the Lord is still further going away and away. That is what is important to understand. This is how we can make corrections in our life. Okay. Can someone read the green highlight?
Hare Krishna. The spirit soul is transcendental to all material calamities. Therefore, the so-called calamities are called false. A man may see a tiger swallowing him in a dream, and he may cry for his calamity. Actually, there is no tiger and there is no suffering. It is simply a case of dreams. In the same way, all calamities of life are said to be dreams. If someone is lucky enough to get in contact with the Lord by devotional service, it is all gain. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
So now you see, now why he says it's a dream? Oh, that means someone beating me, someone using unparliamentary language on me. Is it all false? No, that's not the point to understand. What it means is, it means that those are very, very transient in nature. They are happening because of the prevalence of mode of ignorance, either in the situation or with that person. If you're able to transcend that mode at that situation, you will see a negative situation cannot impact your consciousness at all. And that's what Prabhupada is trying to talk about as a dream here. Right? So you see a great devotee, he is not completely disturbed. Now, does Lord demonstrate this? Yes, Lord demonstrates this. Lord is called Atmarama. What is Atmarama? Atmarama means here completely self-satisfied. He's not saying, oh, I created all of you. You're not offering any yoga to me. You're not offering any yajna to me. You're not offering any praise to me. He's not getting disturbed with all those things. He's completely satisfied. You're offering for your benefit. That does not impact me. So he's showing that. He's showing how he is one of the supremost in the qualifications of Atmaram. Right? He's completely disturbed. Okay. Now, why Lord has said is Swarat? He is completely independent of any of our actions or activities. So you see, the Lord is always in a state of blissfulness. It is because he is not impacted by any of the external circumstances that can be imparted on him. So Lord is a supreme example of such things, but great devotees also demonstrate this. Now let's look at Prahlad Maharaj as an example. Now, did Prahlad Maharaj get disturbed because his father was going against him? Okay, let's look at the life of Prahlad Maharaj. In the first instance, Prahlad Maharaj was trying to preach his father. He tried his level best to preach his father, but his father did not take it up. Of course, his friends in the Gurukul, they took it up. They became devotees. They chanted the name of Hari. But Prahlad was not disturbed. Okay. In the second scenario, his father threatened him that if you don't leave all these practices of Vishnu, I may cause problems to you. Did that threat cause any fear to Prahlad Maharaj? No. Okay, he continued on his journey. In the third scenario, Hiranyakashipu actually decided to kill him. He actually, sent weapons. He sent situations and scenarios to kill Prahlad Maharaj. Did that disturb him? No, it did not disturb him. Right? So you see, devotees are also exhibiting. Now, okay, you may say Prahlad Maharaj may be a tough example, Prabhu, because in real day-to-day we cannot see. But many exalted devotees, even today's life, we can see them. Great sannyasis, we can see them. Prabhupada set an example for that. Under all calamities, under all situations, Prabhupada was never shaken up. In fact, he took more shelter. Prabhupada got a stroke attack after going to America. And there was hardly any treatment or anything like that. He was just going through some massage and things like that. That's it. Now, did Prabhupada stop? Okay, Kali is attacking me too much. Maya's attacking me too much. I better stop and go back home. Better be happy in my hometown in Vrindavan. No, he didn't do that. He took greater shelter of the Lord. And that resulted in his glory. Right? So this is what is important, that Kunti Maharani is expressing her gratitude to Krishna. Okay. Now let's look at the next sloka, 26. Janmaishwarya Shrutashribir Yada Mana Madaha Puman Naivarhati Abhidatum Vai Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. Okay, look at this sloka, very, very beautiful sloka. She's telling Janm Aishwarya, that means someone was born with opulence. Okay. Shruta means very high knowledgeable person, very highly educated person. Okay. Now, Shribir means one who possesses a position very, very powerful, very influential. He can do anything with that position. Right? No, sir. Shribir means is beauty, very, very highly beautiful. Hmm? So, she says many of these qualities are unfavorable for devotion. Now, let us see why she says that. Let us see why she says that. Translation. Oh, my Lord, your Lordship can easily be approached. That means, for practice of devotion, getting the mercy of the Lord, able to, get the association of Lord's devotees is easy, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is on the path of material progress, trying to prove himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, bodily beauty, cannot approach you with sincere feeling. Okay, this is what Kuntimani is saying. Now let's understand this in a context. What is the meaning of materially exhausted? Okay, I want to now refer to this sloka, which is coming from chapter 2. In chapter 2, it is text 44, where it says, Bhogeshwarya prasaktanam taya paharta chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhihi samadhavana vidyate. Now, what does this sloka means? It says, for people who are too much attached to activities on the material plane, too much attached to sensual enjoyment, sensual pleasure, and their material activities must be such that they want to be in high society, they want to be high in opulence, like palatial living, having possessing a lot of jewels, wealth, and things like that, right? Now, what happens to these personalities? They're so busy. They're so busy in managing their own position, be it education or wealth or whatever it may be. They don't get time to think of Krishna. Krishna says, Samoham Sharva Bhuteshu. Now, what does Samoham Sharva Bhuteshu? Krishna says, I'm equal to all. I give equal opportunity to all. But later on he says, but I reciprocate with devotees. So that means what? One time, first he says he's equal to all. But another time he says, I am reciprocated to devotees. Now, what does that mean is, the first time when he says I'm equal to all, he's telling that everyone has an opportunity to connect with me, to practice devotion. I am not depriving this for anyone. That's why I made devotion to be a very simple process. We did not make devotion that one who spends Ashwamedha Yajna only will get my devotion. No, that's complex. Not everyone can perform. So hence, he said, you just chant the holy name. See, chant the holy name is zero investment. You don't need to spend money. Nothing. No effort. No education required. No qualification required. Anyone can chant the holy name. So he made the entry process of devotion so simple and equal to all. A rickshawala can chant, an animal can chant, a rich man can chant, anyone can chant. By chanting, they can be awarded love of God. So hence, Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu, he made things equal for everyone. But at the same time, you see that there are materially inflicted people because of their material qualifications. What happens? Their ahankar goes up very high. Okay, how is that ahankar? It is not that they will be disrespectful, but their dependency on material energy will go higher. Oh, you know what? I can solve my own problem. Oh, I am very knowledgeable. I can do this myself. Oh, this is all sentimental. I don't need to worship Lord. Yeah, they will become more philanthropic. They'll do all other things, which means they get bewildered by this illusion energy. For them, the path of liberation is not a goal in their life at all. Their goal is perform great material activities. Now you see rich man, In India today, this era is India's economic boom. Many people are busy making new businesses, new things, and they're totally getting busy, no time for anything. They are working even on Saturdays and Sundays, they're traveling long distance. So you see, their ahankar is telling them, get more and more connected to material activities. That means they're getting further and further away from Krishna consciousness. So this materially exhausted means who has left his ahankar? Okay, for me, nothing is there. I'll just take up Krishna conscious. Oh, I don't have high education. People are not going to hire me in great jobs. I will practice and recite Bhagavatham slokas and be happy about it. Right? See, this is called helplessness. What happened to Narada Muni? He was completely helpless of his situation. His mother went away. The Brahmanas who initiated him, the Vaishnavas who initiated him, they also left away. And he had no one in his life. He was completely helpless. He surrendered to the Lord. So, our goal is to keep reducing material activities and increasing our consciousness more and more towards remembering and serving the Lord. This is called materially impoverished. Materially he is poor, but spiritually he is rich. That is the whole point here. Right? Okay. So can someone read this yellow here?
Hare Krishna. Therefore, the four principles of material advancement, namely, first, high parentage, good health, high education,
Good wealth. Good wealth.
Good wealth, high education, and attractive beauty are, so to speak, disqualification for progress on the path of spiritual advancement. The material covering of the pure spirit soul is an external feature as much as fever is an external feature of unhealthy body. The general process is to decrease the degree of the fever and not to aggravate it by maltreatment. Hare Krishna.
Maltreatment. Okay. So what is the point now? If you have fever, you have to reduce the fever. Now we are all having material fever, material enjoyment, material activities. So one should slowly reduce this material fever. That's why Prabhupada introduced this Varnashrama system. Okay, during Grahastha time period, yes, you can do all these things, but you do Krishna conscious in parallel. But you have to let go Grahastha life at one point in time. Choose your point in time when things are favorable for you and take up Vanaprastha. So in Vanaprastha, what happens? You're able to give more and more of yourself to Krishna. Your material fever or material activities have ceased into existence. But even in Vanaprastha, we continue to do material activities. We continue to do all those, activities which will take us away from Krishna conscious. That means, even after knowing all these things, we are committing God as a spiritual suicide or spiritual emancipation. Right? So that's why she's trying to refer the material qualities may become unfavorable if we don't make it as an offering to Krishna. On the other hand, look at the Prabhupada movement. He created a platform where very highly intellectual people, very highly rich people, they have come and surrendered and they're practicing. You have many devotees who are IITians. For IITians with such high knowledge, they will get jobs where they can earn 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs a month. But they left that and they're serving the movement. Big businessmen who have crores and crores of rupees, they don't give importance to their business, but they give focus on developing their consciousness towards Krishna. So this is an important sign that one needs to go through, and that's why she's calling it out. Okay? So we should not get intoxicated by material activities. Now let's look at 27, 8.27. Namo kinchana vittaya nivritta gunavrittaye atma ramaya santaya kaivalya pataye namaha. Okay, translation. My obeisances are unto you who are the property of the materially impoverished. You have nothing to do with the actions and reactions of the material modes of nature. You are self-satisfied and therefore you are most gentle and are master of the monist. right? So we discussed most of these points in the previous lokas, but we will take some examples to further enhance this. But the most important is you are master of the monist. Okay, we'll see what is the meaning master of the monist means. Okay, now can someone read the yellow highlight?
Hare Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and Srila Raghunatha Dasa Goswami and others gave up their worldly pomp and prosperity for the sake of the service of the Lord. They were big men in the worldly sense. The Goswamis were ministers in the government service of Bengal, and Srila Raghunatha Dasa Goswami was the son of big zamindar of his time. But they left everything to gain something superior to what they previously possessed. The devotees are generally without material prosperity, but they have a very secret treasure house in the lotus feet of the Lord. Haribol.
So what is that sacred treasure that they're possessing? The Lord and Lord.
Yeah,
Holy
lotus feet.
name, Lord's activities, Lord's pastimes, and all these things, right? Here, Prabhupada also quotes example of Sanatana Goswami touched on pastime. You all know the pastime, right? So even though a touchstone can convert anything to gold, he just threw that into a dustbin, saying that this is not important for me because I want to possess the treasure of the holy name of the Lord, right? Prabhupada writes about Raghunath Das Goswami. His father used to earn money. Even today, many people are not earning that kind of money. That much wealth he had. He said, okay, what's the use of this wealth? I'm not interested in this wealth. He became a Goswami. He took up Krishna consciousness so detailedly. And that was the wealth he possessed. Right? Okay. There are some more highlights. All these highlights can be read together. I want another devotee to read.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, advancement of material vision or material civilization is a great stumbling block for spiritual advancement. Such material advancement entangles the living being in the bondage of a material body, followed by all sorts of material miseries. Such material advancement is called anartha or things not wanted.
Look at the word anartha. Artha means something meaningful. Anartha means meaningless, no use, right? So people are getting attached to anarthas more and more because of material advancement, right? They want to have higher material education. No, having higher material education is good. There's no doubt about it. But provided you have the consciousness to use that knowledge in service of Krishna, use that knowledge in service of the mission of Srila Prabhupada, then that material education is perfect. Because we are converting this material knowledge, these material activities, we are spiritualizing them and using in service of Krishna. And that's what is important, right? So today, we want excellent public relation people for ISKCON. Why? Because the glories of this movement need to be educated to the whole world. Because many of them feel, oh, it's another temple. Many of them feel it's sentimental. Many of them feel, oh, it's all sectarian and things like that. So we have such views, but we have a good public relation person. He can educate the whole world. So we want someone who's well educated in many languages, who can be outspoken, who can speak about these things to the whole world in different forums. So you see, material qualification being used in service of Prabhupada, being used in service of Krishna. See, that is what is important to understand. Okay, can someone read the green?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. By diverting attention to so many unwanted things, human energy is spoiled without achievement of spiritual realization, the prime necessity of human life. The attempt to reach the moon is another example of spoiling energy, because even if the moon is reached, the problem of life will not be solved. Hare Krishna.
Hare. So now imagine one moon mission. Yeah, does anyone know what's the cost of a moon mission today? Thousands of crores. Thousands of crores, one moon mission. Now, what is that they are achieving? They'll get some objects from there and they'll say, okay, we've analyzed. Some will say there is water, some will say there's no water. But at the end of the day, what has happened? The same scientist also will die. The public and the audience who's watching, they'll also die. So what problems have we solved by doing all these things? So Prabhupada is making a very important comment. This material energy is like a forest fire that we recite in Shikshashtakam. So how this forest fire is, one material activity will lead to another material activity, will lead to another material activity. It just keeps on going like a chain reaction. And it's unstoppable. So what happens, devotees or people, they keep on wasting all their energy and time. So much of energy and time is given to us by Krishna. How much each one of us can do. But we're wasting all of them in things that are useless in nature. So Kunti is calling about all these things are a problem when we divert our material energy. Right? Okay. Can someone read the blue? We'll understand Akinchana.
The devotees of the Lord are called Akinchanas because they have practically no material assets.
Yes.
Such material assets are all products of the three modes of material nature.
So if one does not possess a material asset, he is called Akinchana. Now, you can ask, Prabhuji, I'm living in a house, that house is material, then am I a devotee or not? If you practice in that house, nice devotion service, you see the vibrations of the house increase like anything. And you're using their house and, doing deity worship, in calling devotees and serving them, satsang programs, chanting the holy name of the Lord, you see their house is spiritualized. So this is called Akinchana. So devotees are called Akinchana because they don't have any material assets. Whatever they have, starting from themselves, their own body, their consciousness, and things that they possess, everything you'll see, life for Krishna. Many devotees, you go to their houses. Everywhere there'll be pictures of the Lord in different formats. Whatever they do, they give all their time and life in service of the Lord. Nothing else. And they're still happy. They still travel around. They spend money. Everything is being done for them. Right? So they're called Akinchana. Okay, now let's look at the pink. Can someone read this?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The material desire is due to the anchoring after
Material
and Lord.
disease.
The material disease is due to anchoring after the lording it over material nature. This anchoring is due to an interaction of the three modes of nature, and neither the Lord nor the devotees have attachment for such false enjoyment. Therefore, the Lord and the devotees are called Nivritta Guna Vritti.
Okay, so this is 27, right? Yeah. So now you look at it. So Krishna is talking about Atmarama, and he's also talking about Kaivalya. So Kaivalya for monist is what? To associate and merge with Brahman. But for devotees, they never talk about, Krishna, you please take me and then give me this position in the Vaikuntha. They're not talking about it. They're saying that I am happy wherever my service to you and my remembrance to you is always present. Mama Janmani Shwaraye. So we recite this in Damodarashtakam. So this is what is important to understand. Can someone read the green?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The unalloyed devotees and the Lord are transcendently attached to one another for others. The Lord has nothing to reciprocate, and therefore he is called Atmarama, self-satisfied. Self-satisfied, as he is the master of all monists who seek to merge into the
Existence of the Lord.
existence of the Lord.
Yeah. So even to the monist, he awards, he is Bhakta Vatsala, he is Bhakta Aradhana, he is Shantaya. That means there could be many people who do not practice devotion in the right manner. They do whatever they think is right to them. They keep doing it. And Krishna is still pleased with them. He is happy. He just be a provider of whatever your desires are. He makes that happen. And he awards that to the devotees. So like that, he is completely Atma. So this is what Kunti Maharani is offering his prayers the prayers called Akinchana prayers. Okay, now let's look at sloka number 28. Manye tvam kalameshanam anadi nidanam vibhum samam charantam sharvatra bhutanam yanmita kalihi. My Lord, I consider your Lordship to be eternal time, the supreme controller, without beginning and end, at all pervasive one. In distributing your mercy, you are equal to everyone. The dissension between living beings are due to social intercourse. Now look at this time, Kala, right? Now how this Kala is very wonderful. Now we saw Lord as someone who is benedicting the living entities at all points in time. We saw Lord is also remembrance of devotees of past, present, and future at all points in time. So that means if Lord has a vision of one's past, present, and future, even a small devotional activity done to him in the past, present, or future, the Lord reciprocates. The Lord reciprocates and gives him unlimited benediction. So you see, Lord as a Kala is a very appropriate word because he is present at all points in time. And at various points in time, he does activities in order for the welfare and the desire of the living entities. So one of the main feature of the Lord is to continue to distribute mercy. By distributing mercy, what is he doing? He's opening up the window to everyone at all points in time that you can attain him. That's his mercy. Right? So hence he is called Kala. Now, the other point of Kala is also about time as getting passed away. When time keeps getting passed away, we lose a particular time, favorable time, as an opportunity to serve the Lord. Right? So now let's say we had the Nityananda Trayasi festival. Now, this was a beautiful festival where one could come, take association of devotees, darshan of the Lord, maybe do some services, hear Bhagavad Katha, hear nice Harinam Sankirtan, and nourish their heart. Right? Now, one has the other choice also, not to do any of these things and stay aloof of this. Right? So, Lord is continuously giving opportunity at every point in time to every devotee. So, we should not let loose of such opportunities. We should grab them. We should do our best to purify our consciousness. Because during those special days, like Nityananda Trayadasi, like Ekadasi, like Gaur Purnima, on those days, what happens? Lord expands his mercy chest to maybe 1,000 times, maybe 10,000 times, that he, gives unlimited mercy, not even questions asked. Come on, take it and become a devotee. So that's why festivals become very great, because for example, in summer, suddenly one day they'll say, okay, we'll open the gates of the dam. More water can go. That's all. That doesn't happen every day. It happens only on very, very special dates. So the farmers, what they do? Oh, they try to store that water in the check dams or something like that, and then they feed the crops. So festivals are like that. So devotees must take use of this, because again and again, Lord keeps giving these opportunities to us. They should take opportunity and then they should purify consciousness. So now someone read the yellow.
Shall I read, Prabhu?
Yeah, Mataji.
Kunti Devi knew that Krishna was neither her nephew nor an ordinary family member of her paternal house. She knew perfectly well that Krishna is the primeval Lord who lives in everyone's heart as a super soul Paramatma. Another name of the Paramatma feature of the Lord is Kala, or eternal time. Eternal time is the witness of all our actions, and good and bad, and thus resultant reactions are destined by him. It is no use saying that we do not know why and for what we are suffering. We may forget the misdeeds for which we may suffer at the present moment, but we must remember that Paramatma is our constant companion, and therefore he knows everything past, present, and future.
Okay. So now understanding Kala in the next extended dimension. What is it? So for example, when we are in a situation of suffering, right? Whenever we are in suffering, we have the tendency to blame it on the Lord. Oh, see, Lord did not take care of me. He put me into such a distress condition. We have a tendency to blame to God. But is the Lord the cause of our suffering? No. Our actions are the cause of the suffering. So the Lord is merely a witness of our actions. And what does He do? Since He witnesses, He says, okay, this is your action and this is your reaction according to the rules of the creation. So He just makes you the recipient of that. What I did, I get it back. Right? If we understand this, then we will see that our devotion increases because we are able to understand the meaning of what karma is. So hence, the factor to be called as Kala is very, very important. And now he equates this Paramatma feature of the Lord as Kala, because the Paramatma is the one who is present with us at all points in time. How? So, for example, there is a person who transmigrates from one body to another body for, let's say, 5 births. Okay, before he got liberated, for example. In all the 5 births, who was there with him? Paramatma. Paramatma was there with him. He witnessed all his desires and awarded, situations and resultant actions to his desires. So hence, the Paramatma feature of the Lord is equated to a Kala, who is present at all points in time and awards the right things to that personality. Right? So is this clear? Can someone read these yellow and green together?
The Kala offers the conditioned souls both happiness and miseries. It is all predestined by eternal time. Everyone here wants to lord it over the material nature, and thus everyone creates his own destiny under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. He is all pervading, and therefore he can see everyone's activities. And because the Lord has no beginning and end, he is known also as the eternal time Kala. Hare
Because
Krishna.
Kala is a chakra which keeps rotating eternally for all periods of time. So there is no beginning, there is no end. So look at this sloka. It says Anadi. So Adi means the beginning. Anadi means what does not have beginning. Right? So he says Manye Tvam Kalam Ishanam. Right? So Ishanam here refers to Supreme Lord, and he says, Supreme Lord, you are the Kala. You are the eternal time. And this eternal time is Anadi. There is no beginning, there is no end. It keeps on going there forever. It is present at all points in time. So that's the understanding of this one. This portion where Krishna is being called as Kala. Okay, let's go to the next sloka, 8.29. Naveda kaschit bhagavams chikirsitam taveha manasya nirnam vidambanam nyayasya kaschit daitosti karhichit deshascha yashmin vishamamatir nirnam. Translation. O Lord, no one can understand your transcendental pastime, which appear to be human and so are misleading. You have no specific object of favor, nor you have any object of envy. People only imagine that you are partial. Right? Let's look at the purport here. Right? This whole purport has to be read. I want someone to read this purport. Can someone come forward?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Read.
The Lord's mercy upon the fallen souls is equally distributed. He has no one as the specific object of hostility. The very conception of personality of Godhead as a human being is misleading. His pastimes appears to be exactly like a human being's, but actually they are transcendental and without any tinge of material
Tinge of material content. That means
material containment.
There is no
Contamination.
material thoughts at all in his activity. Yes. It is completely spiritualized. That's what it means. He is undoubtedly
known as partial to his pure devotees, but in fact he is never partial, as much as the sun is never partial to anyone. By utilizing the sun ray.
Pause here. See, sun, when it gives the sunlight, it splits its sunlight to every nook and corner of the whole creation. Right? He doesn't say, okay, to this one portion of Bangalore, I will not give sun. No, it doesn't say that. It gives sun everywhere. But however, if I close all the windows and doors of my house and then say there's no sun, then it is improper. Because for me there is no sun, but everyone there is sun. So for me there is no sun is a decision that I made, but it is not made universally by everyone. So you cannot say Lord was impartial to me on that context. Okay, next. Read.
Yes, Lord. By utilizing the sun rays, sometimes even the stones become valuable, whereas a blind man cannot see
the sun.
Although there are enough sun rays before him, darkness and lights are two opposite conceptions. But this does not mean that the sun is partial in distributing its rays. The sun
Pause.
rays are.
It's a very important point. The darkness and light are two opposite conception, right? So that means the Lord favoring someone or not favoring someone, they look opposite to or contradicting to each other, but they're actually not contradicting, right? The Lord says, anyone who connects with me, who loves me, who wants to serve with me, I reciprocate. Okay? But anyone who does not want to connect with me, who does not want to serve me, or does not want to have any relationship with me, I give them the same opportunity. That means whatever they desired, I am giving that opportunity to them. They are not interested in me, so I don't reciprocate accordingly, but I still keep the gates open for them. Okay, now read, bro.
The sun rays are open to everyone, but the capacities of the recipients differ. The foolish people think that the devotional service is flattering the Lord to get special mercy. Factually, the pure devotees who are engaged in transcendental loving service of Lord are not mercantile community.
Yeah, so he is importantly telling that by devotion you don't practice business. See, in the Karma Kanda section, we perform yajna as a matter of business. What is that? Okay, I don't have children, so I perform this yajna so that I get children. So that means you're giving something in order to get something greater. That is transaction, that is business. That is not devotion. Devotion means doing something where you do not have anything in receipt from the Lord. You're doing it for the pleasure of the Lord. But the Lord may reciprocate in his own manner, but that is secondary. But the consciousness of the person who's performing devotion is what has been mentioned here. Okay. Continue, read, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. A mercantile house renders service to someone is exchange for values. The pure devotee does not refer the service and to Lord for such exchanges, and therefore the full mercy of Lord is open for him. Suffering men, needy men, inquisitive persons, or philosophers make temporary connections with the Lord to serve a particular purposes. When the purpose is served, there is no more relation with the Lord. A suffering man, if he is poised at all, prayers to the Lord for his recovery. But as soon as the recovery is over, the most cases the suffering man no longer cares to keep any connection with the Lord.
Pause here.
The mercy of
Pause here. See, that is very important. There is a difference between a devotee and a non-devotee. So the problem of non-equality is not with the Lord. The problem of non-equality is the way that we have dealt with the Lord. That's what one has to understand. Right? If we see the Lord as someone to be used at a particular point in time, and after that, I'm not require the Lord. If that is the consciousness that one is developing, then that cannot be considered as partial or impartial to them. Continue to read, bro.
Yes. The mercy of Lord is open for him, but he is reluctant to receive it. That is the difference between a pure devotee and a mixed devotee. Those who are completely against the services of Lord are considered to be a abject darkness.
Complete darkness.
Complete darkness. Those who are for Lord's favor only at the time of necessity are partial recipient of mercy of the Lord, and those who are 100% engaged in the service of Lord are full recipient of mercy of the Lord. Such a partiality in receiving the Lord's mercy is relative to the recipient, and it is not due to the partiality of all merciful Lord.
So this stands, and this purport explains how partiality to be understood and how you should understand that Lord is impartial. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. He says, Suhurdam sarva bhutanam. He does not say Suhurdam bhutanam only to devotees. He says Suhurdam sarva bhutanam, to all living entities. Bhutanam does not refer to human beings, it refers to living entities. So that means Lord is in that consciousness all the time. So if someone is intelligent, he will be the recipient of that mercy. If someone is not intelligent, he stays away from the Lord. Okay? Now, the best example you can understand the Lord's equality is the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where whoever saw Lord Krishna, they got liberated. No, whoever saw means what? Both in the side of the Pandavas and the soldiers in the side of Kauravas also. Everyone who saw the Lord, they got liberated. So this is a classical example to say Lord was never partial to the Pandavas. Right? Okay. So we will stop here. It is 7:05. And in the next class, we'll continue the 7:30, 7:31. This is a very beautiful sloka, 30 and 31. And 31 is the sloka pastime of Damodar Leela. Why she connects that Leela with it. And that is when, in 31 is when she first introduces the glory of Yashodamai. In the previous sloka, Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya. So in that sloka, she never talked about Krishna son of Yashoda. Why? Because she is now bringing the position of Yashoda in a very exclusive manner. And this is the first sloka she's bringing up Yashoda's glory. Right? So she's talking about the pastime, and this pastime refers to the Damodar Leela pastime. Okay? So any questions? We'll try to help devotees with answers.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, little more clarity for me. See, I mean, people who are in constant sufferings from maybe Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Atmika, whatever the reason. So as a devotee, my we should have a stable mind in such a way that okay, these are all because of my past this thing, but I have to accept it and keep going. And this is also again mercy of the Lord. And because of my karmas, this is a way how I am going to relieve from these karmas what I have done past. So in that way, if I embrace the problem, probably I will not be having the distress. Is that the correct way of approaching?
Correct, but it is not that you will not get distress immediately, because we do not know the intensity of the activities that we have performed in the past. Right? So, for example, let's look at punishment today. Right? Now, if you go to jail, there are some devotees, some not devotees, some people who are punished in a very mild way. That means he may be in jail only for 1 week, 10 days, and that was simple jail, and he'll be given good food and all these things, he'll go away. But there are some people who are awarded jail punishment for lifetime. Lifetime. 30 years, 50 years, until death, they'll say. And some devotees, not some devotees, some people, they will say punishment as a penalty, capital punishment. That means, kill them. Right? So you see, degree of punishment vary according to the degree of activities one has performed in the past life. Right? Now, that's a general tendency. That means when you go to preach Krishna conscious and you tell them, oh, you take up, Krishna says that all the karma bijas will get roasted and you'll be relieved, is partially correct and partially incorrect. Why? Because the level of punishment one has been awarded is known to them. Okay? Whether he should be relieved in this life or not is also a factor decision of the Lord. If the punishments are grave, the mistakes are also going to be grave. For a grave mistake, grave punishment. That means, you see, even someone takes it up with chanting the holy name, eating prasadam sometimes, you see, they're not relieved at all because of their, past deeds. So this is knowledge. Once the knowledge comes, but still not possible to accept because they're not practicing. So they should have knowledge and they should practice devotion. When both are being done parallelly, they're able to accept situations as they come. That is important to understand. In our Hindu, among the Hindus, Hindu Dharma, you'll see that many of them, they know all this karma. But why they're not able to accept it? Because they're not practicing devotion. Right?
Very, very right.
If they practice devotion and then they accept karma, they'll be able to cross over it. Now, they only want to accept karma, saying that, okay, I am the cause of this, but they're not able to stop their suffering is because they're not practicing devotion. So both should be done parallel.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Any other questions?
That's why they say, no, Prabhu, in the Hindus, the Indians, usually they say whatever happens, they say it is because of karma philosophy. Because of our past deeds, we are suffering.
Yeah, but that is only half knowledge. Why? Because, okay, you know that you've done past deeds, that you're suffering, but what are you doing now to have a greater life in the future? That they're not addressing.
Yes, Prabhu.
So that's why lack of devotion exists. So devotion must be there, and understanding of this philosophy must be there. Together is when you solve your problem. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks for all your association. We'll continue to read Kunti Maharani's prayers in the next class from sloka number 30. Okay. Today's sloka. So today's sloka, what I have written down is, we have to remember. So Mataji 22, Nama Pankajanabai has to be remembered. Krishnaya Vasudeva has to be remembered. Then Maya Javani Kachanam has to be remembered. Namashe Purusham Tvadyam has to be remembered. And in today's sloka, these three slokas must be remembered. So let's go. No, not all. Yeah. So this one must be remembered. Vipadastantuta Shashvat Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru Bhavato Darshanam Yat Syat Apunar Bhava Darshanam. So this must be remembered, Mataji. 25. And the next sloka you have to remember is this sloka called Janmaishwarya. This one. Janmaishwarya Sutta Shribir Yedamana Madappuman Naivarhati Abhidhatum Vai from Akinchana Gocharam. So this also must be remembered from today's reading. Then this also. Which one? 27. Namo Akinchana Vittaya Nivritta Gunavrittaye Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kaivallapataye Namaha. So these three slokas from today's class must be remembered.
It is 25, 26, 27, Prabhu.
Yes.
And the previous one, it is 22 or 20.
Previous one is 20. Previous one is, no, more than that.
Krishnaya Vasudeva is 21.
18. Namashe Purusham Tvadyam. So this is the first prayer that she offers to Krishna.
Yes.
Okay. The 19, Maya Javani Kachanam. That means Maya is acting as a curtain, right? 19. Then we also have 20, that even great austerity people who perform a severe austerity in penances and yajnas, they cannot even reach the dust of a lotus feet, but a devotee can easily execute this. Bhakti Yoga Vidhanartham. One who executes the discharge of Bhakti Yoga, they are considered to be great. And she says, okay, I'm a lady, so how can I be perfect? Right. So this sloka must be done.
So 18, 19, 20, even 22.
22 is mandatory. Then after that, we're going to be very specific about various slokas.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can we have a recording done, Mataji, of the sloka and then published so that people can hear the right pronunciation? and then they start to practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila
Jai,
ki jai, Gurudev
Jai, Jai.
Jai Gaur Premanande, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyo Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Vaishnava Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Sat.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavad Pranam, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavas Pranam. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So we'll end here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam.
Dandavad Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavad